Hello and welcome to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Hey, it's Russ, it's Michelle, it's Kyle. It's the Infectious Groove Podcast, coming to you live from Detroit, Michigan, where Kyle's mic is working fine, and both Kyle and I are convinced Michelle's mic is not working, so let's all get through this together.
Maybe.
Yeah, as you heard Michelle coming from easily 14 houses away, it sounds like her mic is not working.
Does it get better if I get closer?
Nope, but
So
thank you
weird.
for that piece of comedy. Hey, Michelle, do you have any idea what we discussed? It was a two-parter. Do you have any idea what we discussed on our last time out?
Something in the 80s.
Yes. You know what? Judges,
My birthday?
we'll accept that. We'll accept it was something in the 80s, as a matter of fact.
I'll give you that one.
We discussed the amazing year in music that was 1994 or 1984. Holy crap, something in the 80s. 1984. And the reason why I had 91 on the brain is because the 84 was a requested topic that we got from listeners because we did a wildly popular series on 1991. Many people always say that 1991 and 1984 are the two best years in music. So now that we've covered 1984 and 1991, probably another month or so, we're going to get around to doing a 1984 versus 1991 episode. Michelle, before you speak, please don't spoil it. Please don't spoil it again, because last time we brought this up, you were like, I'd pick this year. And I was like, you're pre-spoiling a whole episode.
Well, then we don't have to do it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that logic. So as you might imagine, we recorded a couple of episodes in quick succession, and we did not have time for feedback during those two episodes. So we're going to get into the feedback that we had from both of those episodes right now.
Feedback, Joe.
Don't worry about that. Right. There's rock and roll be without feedback.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you haven't heard it, Michelle does an amazing impression of David Gilmour saying that.
What a
exact
great
phrase.
rendition that was.
I think we should just use mine from now on.
Yep. And, you know what I should do is in the audio, what you said offline just now, I should take that and edit it over David Gilmour and see if people can even tell the difference. Moving into the feedback that we have from the 1984 episode.
Jesus Christ.
My favorite piece of feedback that came in might be the first one that we got. And of course, it's Seth right out of the gate with some great feedback. And Seth says, the real question is, how old was Russ in 1984? I know for sure Michelle asked that. And Seth said that before he listened to the episode. And for sure, Michelle said in the episode, wanted to know how old I was in 1984.
I forgot what the answer was.
9. It was 9. I was 9.
9.
And you were how old, Michelle?
-2.
Michelle was -2 in 1984. Aaron from I Had to Say This gets at us and says, the reason why my jaw hit my chest during your Kanye West episode was not because your rating for the album was so low, but it was because Michelle's rating was so logical and made sense, and she had reasoning as opposed to, well, say pet sounds.
Same reasoning.
Mike
Same
Downing.
logic.
Nope. Mike Downing from Chicago had a couple of things.
Mike.
I'm sorry?
Chicago Mike.
Chicago Mike, for sure. Left out, had a couple of albums that we left out from 1984. Whitesnake Slided In and First Sting by the Scorpions, which are two that I didn't think about because they weren't debut records and they weren't the ones that blew up. But Mike pointed out that they absolutely are ones that were albums on the come up before the Scorpions and Whitesnake blew up enormously. So,
Slide what in?
I'm sorry?
Slide what in?
Oh, well, you have to listen to the song. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
I do know it says slide it in straight to the top.
Oh.
Yeah, and he can. David Coverdale continually sings "I'm gonna slide it in," so that kind of narrows down what he's talking about with it, I guess.
Slide it in where?
Straight to the top. Lauren from the Weird Al podcast has some corrections for me regarding some statements I made on Weird Al during the last episode on 1984. First of all, she is adamant that Weird Al's first album was not recorded entirely in the bathroom, like I said it was, but most of it was recorded in the bathroom.
Give me percentages.
You know what? We'll ask her to get back to us
Okay.
on that. And then the other thing is I did misstate, and I said Weird Al has 15 studio records. He has 14 studio records. And while you might be like, wow, does one matter? You know how I am about music. I would be like, that's not true. You know,
You done fucked up.
I did, as a matter of fact. Sean and Chris, who are the perpetuators of some of the biggest misinformation I've seen on the internet in this day and age. I think of everything. When we think misinformation going around the internet, I think one of the biggest lies on the internet today is the hashtag Michelle is awesome, which is started by and continually pushed by Sean and Chris. They said, I can't find the exact quote in this week's episode, but it sounded like Michelle called Pink Floyd garbage in this episode. And I thought Russ was going to get up and walked out. It was an oh my God moment for me. Sean and Chris followed up 10 minutes later with, so I went back and listened to the episode again to make sure I wasn't falsely accusing Michelle of anything. Shocking to no one, I found it at 9 minutes and 20 seconds into the episode. Russ said, picking my least favorite and favorite Pink Floyd albums because everything else is, and Michelle said garbage. So
I don't remember that, but I believe it.
we now have timestamps for when Michelle said something just crazy and erroneous on the show. Listener of the show, D-Tension from Twitter. We've been happy to share a lot of feedback from him so far. And it says, Kyle said he was struggling to think of who Orville Peck reminds him of. To me, it reminds me of if Roy Orbison went full country western. Kyle?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think so too. I can totally see that. Like, I really could see
I do hear the Roy in him.
that correlation. Yeah, for sure. Nick from the Vinyl Den. Now, this isn't on our topic. It's just kind of on our jammy jams that we were talking about. He said that he has to admit that he was not a big fan of Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish when it was first released. Streamed it all the way through once and never looked back at it. However, the Infectious Crew podcast was going on about the album so many times that it convinced him to blind buy it on vinyl and give it another listen. And I have to say that giving this album a chance is where it's at. It's really a pretty darn good album, which I think is, I believe we all agree with that. Yes.
So we turned an active non-believer into a believer.
Correct. Kyle,
It is
I'm
a
sorry.
pretty darn good album. I agree.
Yeah, it really is. I was just last night, Michelle, I was going for a long drive and I didn't change my number and I accidentally had it on repeat somehow. And when it restarted, I was like, nah, I'll listen to that again. I'm cool with that.
I thought you were going to say you ended up the entire way on your long drive listening to it over and over again before you realized it.
No, but I would do that on purpose though.
That's a good song.
Dave Zal, another friend of ours from Chicago, he runs the Beer in Front podcast. He has a new hashtag for us. Michelle,
go on.
This hashtag goes #buy Russ the Torrid sweatshirt. Do you remember that?
I do. I'll go back and get it.
Right on. Friend of the show and listener Alex says to us, part 2 of your 1984 episode is a Michelle marriage simulator. If you listen to that episode, you will know what it's like to be married to Michelle.
Why? What did I do?
You were just being you.
I was on it, wasn't I?
You were on it. Actually, follow up to that. D-Tension, who then had listened to part 2, said, part 2 of your 1984 coverage is the worst episode this week ever. I come to hear Michelle be awesome, not all of a sudden a scholar in all things music.
That was the one time. That was it.
Right. Yeah. I like how when you get things right, it upsets people more than when you don't get things right.
They come here for me to get things wrong. That's my bad.
That's the show's entire hook. We should actually just change it to Michelle gets things wrong.
And the infectious groove.
Right, exactly. Seth actually sent us a picture of like a small, looks like maybe like a 12 by 12 canvas and says, I think Infectious Groove needs this for their studio because it will be accurate 90% of the time. And Kyle, this canvas says on it, I'm going to have to disagree with Michelle. That's literally what it says on.
I don't understand where it came from.
I don't know. Probably just everybody
Who listens?
disagreeing. Yeah, it probably is an Etsy store that somebody set up for our show.
That would be fucking great.
More lies being spread around the internet, and I want to put a disclaimer on this. I'm merely reading comments from the internet. I don't endorse these. This is not the overall opinion of the Infectious Groove podcast that I'm sharing. The Thanks for Coming podcast says Michelle really earned the hashtag Michelle is awesome this week. So again, it's not anything. It's not anything I agree with. I'm just merely reading the comments. Dean from the UK follows up on our episode and some feedback we read from him last week. I did not get through all of episode 1 of the 1984 coverage last week, so I finished the remainder of that this morning, and now on to episode 2. Never have I almost had a stroke from laughing as much as you guys knowing I was across the pond because I used the word daft, and and then Russ pronouncing the hard C on Celtic. Think Boston Celtics or Tom Selleck. Now, I want to stop in the middle of that. So, like, you know how all Americans think that the whole world is America? Like,
yes.
Okay, so
It's not.
I don't know much about football, and I on purpose said Celtic, because I didn't want to say Celtic and have someone from overseas be like, stupid American thinks everything sounds like the Boston Celtics, you know? So I was trying to be right, and I was wrong.
What's funny is that, like, I would say Boston Celtics, but if someone were to be like, look at this piece of artwork, I'd say, oh, that's a Celtic artwork.
Right.
But it's the same thing, right?
I guess. Yes. I did not mean to mispronounce Dean's team, and I know he's just being funny. He put 3 laughing emojis with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in any case, I am glad that he took that in the way that I meant to say it. He said, also, in this episode, I found out that solo album from Steve Perry caused beef with Journey. I really didn't know that, and it makes total sense because that album sounds like a Journey album. Steve Perry still gets paid because he had it put in his contract that after his resignation, he would still take a percentage of tours and album sales, even though he left Journey, which is that's the way to do it, man.
For sure.
like, well done.
Like, so, like, after I leave, if I ever leave my job, after I leave, I could be like, I get a percentage of everything this company makes forever.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good note to take.
Yeah. I'm going to end up signing something I don't want to over the show eventually. I just realized that. Well, lastly, rounding out the feedback that we got from last week, this is one of my favorite Twitter handles. His Twitter handle is Anthony, and it says in parentheses, Taylor's version. Which
That's a good one.
I love. And Anthony, every time he listens to us, he always has good feedback. He always retweets us and tells everybody to listen to our latest episode and why it's awesome. He said he loved our part 1 and part 2 episode on 1984. Absolutely love them. So much great music from my childhood. I hope you do more of these episodes in the future, regardless of if it's covering full years from the 80s or even the 90s. And like I said previously, I do believe that eventually we will do some of that. So that will be fun as well. So same old in feedback. We always appreciate it, but I just don't appreciate people continually perpetuating this idea that Michelle is awesome. But I will continue to read those comments. You know,
It's because I am awesome, Mel.
Sure. Moving right along. Our jammies. For the past 2 weeks, I have been on an Arrow rabbit hole, and there is no other nice way to say it. I've listened to nearly everything Aerosmith has ever put out in the past, 2 or 3 weeks. And it might have even been because we were talking about the mid 80s, or we actually on our vinyl YouTube channel, I had a video that I shot like 8 months ago about some underrated Aerosmith songs. So I don't know if it's because that came out or whatever, but my whole being for the past 2 weeks, whenever I've been able to control music anywhere around me, whether it's live Aerosmith albums or stuff from the Columbia years back in the 70s, the mid 80s to the late 90s on Geffen, just all Aerosmith for me. So I've been pretty simple with my intake lately. And I realized while I was listening to a lot of Aerosmith lately that I really hadn't listened to Aerosmith in a very long time. Like I hadn't on purpose listened to a bunch of Aerosmith. I had heard Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way and stuff on the radio and whatever, but I hadn't really gone after listening to Aerosmith purposely in a long time. So there was a ton of stuff that I hadn't heard and for even songs that I don't love per se, like Jaded. Actually, that's probably the biggest one I can think of, but even songs that I don't absolutely love, I just really was jamming on for the past couple of weeks. So that was rad. Kyle, what have your jammy jams been?
Very, very simple this week. I am still trying to unpack the craziness that Donda 2 is.
Okay, like the actual music on the LP, not the way it was presented or the music player or anything. You mean the actual music itself is
yeah.
Okay, because I haven't heard it yet. Is it wildly different than the first one?
No, it very much acts as a sequel like it's supposed to. I want to say that it might have been all stuff that was, well, no. He definitely talks about like current events, so it's not stuff that was left off of the first project. It's actually all new stuff. I was going to say it's a continuation of it, but like stuff that they didn't want to cram on the first one, but it's not. He talks about current events and stuff.
Gotcha.
He's going through a lot of shit, and he vomits it all up on this record, more so than the first record, where he's just talking about all the shit he's going through.
So, but taking that whole record in has been like a whole thing.
Yeah, and since we won't be able to put it on the playlist because it's unavailable on streaming,
Right.
Either you guys are going to have to go out and get a stim player and listen to that shit yourself, or you're going to have to settle with me putting like Donda 1 or the original Donda or whatever on the playlist.
Yeah, just throw
Like
some.
the 50th time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she seemed to have comments on your jammy jams, Kyle. So I sure hope she has some jammy jams of hers to share. Michelle, what have you been listening to?
Well, it's been a kind of a weird week. We were gone last weekend and just re-emerging back into society.
Mm-hmm.
So other than fun in general, which just been some nights, and then also Aim and Ignite because I had to do it this week.
Yeah. There was a
so
very
that was-
real concern when I was writing my notes for this week's album review. I was like, we're going to end up talking about Aim and Ignite a lot.
Is
just
this
like,
a Delta situation?
yeah, we may be in a Delta situation. But anyways, go on.
So it was Aim and Ignite, and then one song that I cannot get out of my head this week is Hustlin' by Rick Ross.
Okay.
Why are you guys laughing?
That's just not expected.
That's so random.
I guess. Yeah, there we go. That's a much better word. It's very random.
It was every day I'd be hustling though.
You do be hustling every day.
Yeah, I was at work all weekend, so I was hustling hard.
So, to be clear,
Why are you guys laughing at me?
you worked for once,
Shut the fuck up.
and so now,
And now all of a sudden you're a hustler.
Yeah, I worked one weekend.
Well,
my
long time
God.
listeners of the show will know when Michelle hustles as hard as she does in the first half, we have to take a break. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that right now. And actually, I realized when you said fun, Michelle, I forgot to mention that this week's topic is going to be our review of the album Some Nights by the band Fun. It was my pick. We'll get into why it's my pick and everything we like and dislike about it in the second half of the show coming up in a couple of seconds. You are listening to the Infectious Groove Podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Richie.
I'm Little Matt.
And here in the 500 Section Lounge, we are three dads who host a family-friendly weekly podcast.
Yep, we laugh, we go on tangents, and we talk to great guests.
Tangents. I don't know what you're talking about with that. You know, there are gases leaking.
All right, okay.
Yeah, we have legendary conversations from sports to history and everything in between.
So be on the lookout for what we do next.
And always be there to
Grab a listen.
Hi, I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
And we host the Muck Podcast, where we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics.
Hey, Tina, did you know that Elvis crashed the Nixon White House for the sole purpose of getting a DEA badge? And it worked?
What? Or how a gun control advocate senator out of California engaged in gun trafficking with notorious gang leader Shrimp Boy?
Shrimp Boy, I remember him. Okay, so, we cover all of that and more from maladies, madness, mischief, and murder in U.S. politics.
And we also host a bi-weekly interview segment called Lil Muck.
We interview politicians, journalists, activists, and others who share their experiences in politics.
Find the Muck Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and check us out on social media at the Muck Podcast.
We are back. It's Russ, Kyle, and Michelle, and coming at you with the second half of the Infectious Groove podcast. And this week is an album review episode. If you're a longtime listener of the show, then you know the drill. If you're not, we do basically every other episode of the show is an album review. We cycle through picks from the three of us, which brings you the diversity from all three of us. Sometimes we all like the same genres. Sometimes many of us will bring albums that the rest of us have never heard before. We also slide in listener album reviews every so often. And this week, the spotlight is on me, and I got to pick our album review. So here we go.
The Infectious Groove Podcast.
Album review.
Oh, I'm sure I'll say something dumb.
This week, I picked the album Some Nights by Fun for us to review, which is, I will get into all of the reasons why I picked it here in a second. This album was released on February 12th, 2012, which I feel is one of those like, hey, do you want to feel old moments? Because am I wrong? It doesn't seem like this record is 10 years old now.
It does not. Wait,
Yeah,
what
it
month?
doesn't.
February 12th, 2012.
Oh, so it's literally just about 10 years.
Yeah, it just had a birthday, and it doesn't like make a big deal out of itself, so I didn't want to, do it right on the anniversary.
Oh, I wish they would be doing a 10-year anniversary tour.
I wish they would be doing a tour.
I would wish they would do anything at all.
A song.
Are they still a band?
No.
I think in the legal sense, like there's probably a fun LTD, or LCC or whatever, LLC. But, all three members have gone on to wildly different things. And that's good too. Like I'm not a huge fan of a lot of what they've done separately, but they're all wildly successful at what they're doing. And that's okay too. I mean, not with Michelle, obviously. But
not with me.
Not with Michelle. Here is why I picked that record. And Michelle, I know you and I have known each other for long enough as friends, and I've said this to other longtime friends. You ever have that thing where you hear a song and you go, "Oh, well, they wrote that for me." Okay, this record came along it was exactly in the right place and exactly at the right time for me. Like at not one song on this record, nearly every song on this record. When I first heard the lyrics, I was like, "Well, they wrote that for me." Like right now, nearly every song on the record. And on a personal note, this album really reignited my personal faith in music as a whole, like the future of music, because at the time I just had enough of Avril and Shinedown and Buck Cherry and some of those bands I like and some of those artists I like. But it was all very plain Jane. Just I hadn't heard anything like new and exciting in a long time. And this record for me blew my mind of like, oh, okay, so there are still people out there making wildly creative things that are different from the mainstream.
Absolutely.
So that's why I picked this record for us to review this week. We always go through and we pick our best tracks on the record. We discuss that. We pick our stinkers from the record. We discuss that, and then we'll get into open discussion and so on. And usually when I pick an album that I love so much, I say something along the lines of all of it. For best tracks on the album. But I'm going to read the tracks that I think are the best tracks on the album and just do a little bit of detail on each one. Or not each one, but intro, Some Nights, We Are Young, Carry On, Why Am I the One, All Alone, All Alright, One Foot, Stars, and Out on the Town. So if you're keeping track, that's almost the whole record.
I noticed you missed a big one.
I did, but we'll get to stinkers in a second, Michelle. Now, I want to say, you know what? I think something that no one probably ever mentions about this record, I think the intro track to this record is brilliant. Like
I dig it.
Yeah, like I just love. I think it should be required listening. That if you're going to listen to the song "Some Nights," the title cut, you should have to listen to that
I
intro
felt the
track.
same way with intro to Kelly Clarkson record.
A Minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, by the way, total sidebar. Before that record came out, the lead up to that record, she was doing a YouTube series called A Minute with Kelly Clarkson, where it was just her sitting around her house with wine, getting just hammered, and when she got her vinyl copies of Meaning of Life, she was playing it on her turntable, and she was like encouraging herself. Like she would hit a high note and she'd be like, and she was so hammered, she was like, "Get it? Like, go ahead." It was awesome. But
that's great.
Speaking of wonderful vocals, like when that intro kicks in on that record, the intro to Some Nights, at first you're like, oh, okay, this guy can sing. And then when he hits that last Some Nights, like going into you're like, oh, whoa, hold on. This guy can sing.
Yeah, he got it. I don't know what it is, but he got it.
Do you agree with that, Kyle? Do you think well, let me say that. Do you think that people should have to listen to that intro to go into the full song, or is it okay for them to start right from the chorus of Some Nights?
No, you should start with the intro because that's the shit they left off the radio. So it goes along. It's the intro to that song. So you should absolutely listen to it.
Yeah. And goddamn, when we do these album reviews, I say, oh, this is a good track. This is a good track. These songs on this record, I can't even express. I mean, I love these songs. And I will say this too. When I'm listening to this album, every song that's on, if you ask me what my favorite song is on this record, I will be like, absolutely this one. And then when the next song starts, I'll be like, no, my bad. And this happens all the way up to Stars and Out on the Town. Like while Out on the Town is playing, I'm like, no, my bad. They capped it off with the best song on the record. So after all of that gushing, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle. I'm waiting for Kyle to be like, yeah, I liked Some Nights and All Alone. But what do you think, Kyle? What's your favorite tracks?
I very much have a love-hate relationship with this album. This is the first time. I don't think I've ever listened to this album all the way through until now. Doing this. Some of my favorite songs on the record are the ones that were all beat into our heads,
overexposed,
from MTV and the radio and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I love those songs, like sometimes it drives me nuts to hear them again.
Sure, yeah.
But the creativity and everything that went into all this entire project is like right up my alley.
No, for sure, yeah. By the way, what you were describing before is what I call the Paradise City effect.
Yes,
where, I've described that to you guys before, where like when Paradise City broke in '87, all 3 rock stations in Detroit, someone was playing that song at one time. And even now, if I go back to listen to Appetite, sometimes when Paradise starts, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I can see what you're saying, like, because this record starts out with the 1-2 punch of Some Nights into We Are Young, two songs that were so I bet when you started to listen to this, you were like, God damn it.
Yeah, we were listening to, and I asked Michelle, I was like, was this whole record a single? Like,
yeah, it turns out this album's just a 12-inch single of singles.
They're so good at what I shouldn't say they were so good at what they were doing that
we don't know they're done.
That's true. And the fact that they come off of a record label that is very well known for being like just a Warped Tour band record label that like all those kind of bands are on, and they absolutely set themselves apart from those kind of other bands.
Oh, for sure.
Because I don't want to just say it's because of Nate Roos, but he's very, very talented and very good at what he does. But
I would say that a lot of the songs wouldn't have the personality they do without him.
Yes.
And again, I made this remark during the Kelly Clarkson review, where those songs could be very mediocre in anyone else's hands, and it doesn't matter how good Jack Antonoff is at writing a song if somebody like Nate Roos can't deliver it like if you listen to Carry On, in many ways that's basically like an Irish spiritual almost, right? Like the melody to it. You can deliver those very, very mundane in a plain way, but Nate Roos sings Carry On like it's the last song he's going to sing. And that's why.
Yeah.
One thing I want to back up real quick and point something out, Kyle. You accidentally gave Michelle another assist in being right on something. You know how Michelle always asks if every person we're talking about is dead? Yeah. She just casually dropped in conversation that she knows that all the members of Fun are alive.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that because I'm not really sure. I just feel like I would have heard if they were dead. Yeah,
but you heard Little Richard passed away and thought he was already dead.
And then we talked about it again, and I said, is he still alive?
Correct. So I'm sorry, Kyle. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just that was a breaking news bulletin that Michelle yet again knew something.
Yeah, this, as you were saying, this album is a great example of how delivery is absolutely as important as the songwriting, because they don't always go hand in hand. In this situation, they mesh perfectly, and he delivers what was put before him and does it very well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Michelle, your thoughts? I know that you are a big fan of this record as well, but do you have any other things that maybe weren't pointed out so far?
Are you asking me for my jams?
I am asking you for your jams. Yes, we're on that segment of our show right now.
That's not what you said, man.
Michelle, what are your jams on this record?
So the record starts strong for me. I like the intro. Some nights we are young, carry on.
And then does it get better?
It does not get better.
You see what I did there?
It does not get better. All Right and Stars and Out of the Town. Out of the Town is my favorite track on this record.
God, I love that song.
Yeah, those are my jams.
Well, we're going to move on to Stinkers, or in this case, Stinker. And
Singular.
There is no end to how much I hate this song. And I actually wrote this on my notes here, and I don't know if you agree with my stinker, Kyle. I know Michelle does, but Kyle, I don't know if you agree with my stinker, but I will tell you that I wrote the name of my stinker is It Gets Better, because it does not get better. The song ruins. We'll go into that a little bit more later, but for me, the song, it ruins the flow of the album. Everything about this record is perfect except for that damn song and where it's placed. But here's the note, Kyle, that I put that I want to know if you agree with. I found it. This Is My Happy by Pharrell.
That's it. That's exactly it.
First of all, Kyle, does this song qualify as a stinker for you? And do you agree, even if you don't hate it as much as I do you agree that it's in the classification with Happy?
Yeah, I don't hate it as much as you do, but like when me and Michelle were listening to it, and this is the first time I ever heard this song, and I was like,
oh, I'm sorry.
I literally was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah.
Because I don't even know. It's so out of place and so different than anything else on the record. I was just like, what is going on?
That song is objectively bad. it's not a matter of it not being your thing, or like you, Kyle, you probably prove over and over on the show more than the other two of us that like you're not opposed to diversity, and it's not like you need, pieces of the puzzle to fit perfectly together. So it's not like this song is just different and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like the rest of it. This song is objectively bad. Like,
when I said that, Michelle followed up with, I fucking hate this song.
Like, I would like to write a strongly worded letter to whomever let this song on this album.
Kyle said it just sounded like a throwaway song, like they weren't even trying, and I can't agree more.
Exactly. So, Michelle, do you have other details you'd like to share? Because we're in the stinkers portion now, Michelle, of the...
I appreciate you inviting me to the stinkers portion.
Yes, you were cordially invited.
It just does not get better. It's just so bad. So when I put this record on for the first time in a long time for this, I was like, all right, I'm just going to listen to it front to back. I'm not going to whatever. And it came on, and like, it is like reflex.
Yep.
Like I was like trying to skip it, and I was like, no, just listen to it one time. Just listen to it one time. See if it gets better. Does not get
it does not
better.
That's another thing too. That's another thing on this show. We very much try and champion truth, and we try and dispel things that are out there. The name of this song is a lie. At no point does it get better.
It's fake news.
Yeah.
It's almost like they were working on it, and like, I don't know, someone was just like, I'm going to leave this on the record and see what happens.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and then it comes out, and everyone's like, oh, I hate that fucking song.
And then
that guy's sitting back in his chair like, I knew they would fucking hate.
Yeah, I know. Look at what I did. I ruined a perfect album.
And then Kyle and I were driving around yesterday running errands, and so he was like, put that record on so I can listen to it front to back. And I was like, and then It Gets Better came out, and I was like, damn, I have to listen to it again.
In the interest of full disclosure, and I will say this is totally true, we have reviewed records where I have strongly disliked songs, and I have always listened to the full record every time I sat down to do it for the review. For this, because I know this record so well and I know I hate it, all I could muster up was the one listen. I did exactly the same thing you did, Michelle.
One more than you.
You did. I listened to this record straight through the entirety of the song It Gets Better. I wanted to skip it, and I was like, no, you gotta listen to it for this review. Subsequent listens of this album in prep for this review, every single time I skipped that song. I couldn't. I
will
take
say
it.
that you mentioned it, comparing it to Pharrell's Happy. I do see how you would think that, but when I hear Pharrell's Happy, I literally want to bash my head against the wall. This song, I don't really get that vibe, but I would just want to turn it off. Like, I don't want to hear another fucking tune from it.
Okay.
I just want it to go away.
So to make my stance abundantly clear on this song, not only do I want to bash my head against the wall, I'm going to grab other people and bash their head against the wall too over this. That's how much
pencils in my ear.
Yeah, that's how much I dislike this song. Let us move on, since we all agree that It Gets Better is not only a stinker, it's definitely the stinker of this record. I think this might be the only time that we've all had the same exact one stinker from a record.
I would challenge anybody out there to tell me that they like the song.
Oh boy.
That shit's stinky, man.
We got to make that into a t-shirt. Just the quote, in quotes, that shit's stinky, man, Kyle. Open discussion. So there's some weird things about this record that I want to talk about. Well, maybe not all weird things. Okay, I don't know if you guys noticed this. Every version of this record that exists, whether you listen to it on streaming or you get it on vinyl, there was even a 7-inch vinyl box set of the record, like of all 45s. Every version of this album contains the song Out on the Town. Mm-hmm. And on every version of this record, Out on the Town is listed as a bonus track.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's just, okay, so here's the only example I can think to dig up out of my mind right quick. So when Michael Jackson Bad came out initially on cassette and LP, that album ends with Smooth Criminal. Like, that's the last track on the record. And they put Leave Me Alone as the last track on the album, like after Smooth Criminal on the CD, as literally a bonus track. Like, hey, if you spend more money to buy this record on CD, you're getting this extra song. Okay. That to me is the definition of a bonus track. Or like, or that thing where, and you're both very familiar with this, in like the early 2000s where somebody would release a record and then like 6 months later, the special edition would come out, you know, with like a second CD of like 6 months. Yeah. Those are bonus tracks to me. Okay. Yeah. Out on the Town is available on every single version of this record. What's a bonus about that? Like,
it was on the original release.
Yeah. Yes. And it was never like the pressing I have of it is the one I bought 10 years ago in February. Like it's every version of this album has that.
It's kind of weird to call something a bonus track. This is not even a bonus track.
Maybe they're making up for It Gets Better. And they're like, here's a bonus.
Yeah, they're like, thanks for sitting through It Gets Better. Yeah, as a bonus, here's a song to make up for it.
It's even listed on their Wikipedia page like that as a bonus, bonus track. And I was like, that's not a bonus.
And even if you listen to the album on CD or on cassette, or I'm sorry, on CD or on vinyl, the remix of We Are Young is not on the CD or the vinyl of Some Nights, and it is on streaming, and that's also listed as a bonus track, right? That's a bonus track. Like if you listen to it here, you get it here, that's a bonus. You know what I mean? Like but Out on the Town is listed as a bonus on every single version, but it's on every single version. I believe your theory is right, Michelle.
Do you think it could have been like the album was like packed up and ready to go, and they were like,
oh, wait, one more. Yeah.
Uno más. And they were like, okay, we'll call it a bonus track, but then they just accidentally put it on everything.
Accidentally.
Honest to God, the theory I'm going to run with going forward is your original theory of It Gets Better is so bad that they were like, just look it Out on the Town as a bonus for putting up with it. It Gets Better.
They cancel each other out.
The only other thing that I wanted to mention about as far as track listing goes on this, and I think I did mention this during the Kelly Clarkson review as well, is the vinyl track listing for this bums me out because It Gets Better is the second to the last song on side one. And I so wish it was the last song on side one so I could just listen to the good songs in a row, lift the needle, flip the record, and never have to hear It Gets Better.
Can you scratch it out?
Yeah, but then it'll screw up the stylus, like while it's skipping over everything.
See that same dude that left it on the record sitting back like, put it right where they have to keep listening.
The dude is sitting back doing the Smithers from the Simpsons. It's like, yes. I mentioned this earlier. The lyrics of this album are brilliant. Every single song speaks to me, and it's not even what I was going through at the time or anything. I think anybody could listen to the lyrics of this album and just go, holy shit, that's deep, whether or not you identify with what every song is about.
Russ, I think if you were born in the 80s like I was, you would be an emo kid.
Why would you accuse me of such a thing?
I really think that you would be like, oh my God, these albums, these lyrics, they speak to my soul. I just feel like that's how it would be.
Well, thankfully, I was born in the 70s, and instead I have lyrics like Pink Floyd that speak to my soul. So I'm all set. Oh, God damn it.
Oh, wow.
God damn it.
Those are fighting words.
The last thing I had for open discussion, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong on this, I think the track listing on this, like the way one song leads into another, is absolutely perfect. Other than It Gets Better. And even when you skip It Gets Better. Like when you skip, I forget right where it's, I think it's right before All Alright or something like that. But anyways, if you just skip that, it still sounds perfect. Like it sounds like it gets. So am I wrong on that? What do you guys think about the way the running order goes?
I like that the one song ends and the other song begins in the same song. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like the way they overlap.
Yeah, I like that.
I do fancy that on a record, so that I never mind that when that happens because it just adds something, I don't know, something different to a record.
I don't know why, but I especially like it between Stars and Out on the Town. Like the way Stars kind of like blows up and goes away, and then the way Out on the Town starts. It's Out on the Town is almost like like it's like a winding down track from the rest of the experience, because Stars is such a heavy song, like lyrically.
I will say it's not very often that you have a song on a record that nearly every human can identify with, which would be We Are Young, which is just that song. It's just I don't even know how to describe it, but like
before Michelle gets to the joke, even people who aren't young like me enjoy a song called We Are Young. So
yeah, because it reminds you of being young. That's like the entire thing is, it's, I don't know, it's
or
as
even
much as that song drives me nuts because I've heard it so many times, I can't deny the power of what that song is and what it means and like what it embodies.
Yeah, absolutely. So we always ask if you would buy this record, and I think I've made it clear that I have. I've actually bought the first time I bought this album, I bought it on CD, which is how I know that Out on the Town is on the CD. It's before I finally broke down and joined the streaming companies, like, I don't know, 6 years after this album came out. I finally broke down and bought the album or listened to it on streaming. But I have purchased the record on vinyl. I bought it on CD because it was dirt cheap and I hadn't heard much off of it. And I thought, well, we'll see how this goes. And then as soon as I fell in love with it, I was like, well, I got to have that on vinyl. So yes, I would buy this album, and I have bought it twice. I can't remember, Michelle, if you do own it or not, but would you buy this record?
I do own it.
Okay, so
And
you
I would
done
buy it
did.
again. I done did. Or it was bought for me. But,
Okay. But damn, that's another reason why you don't have to go to the record store now. Damn.
Kelly Clarkson isn't on vinyl, is it?
Meaning of Life is absolutely on vinyl.
Oh, yeah, we listened to it. Never mind. Go on.
We sure did. Man.
No, like we listened to it here.
Yeah, we own it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Good God.
Anyways.
Kyle, if you were not living with the most wonderful music critic in the history of the world and you did not own this record already, would you buy this album?
Yeah, I would have blind bought it probably because I fancy the album artwork and the presentation and the font and all that jazz. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, I do agree with that too. And there's aspects of it of the artwork that are plain, which probably come from the label, like you were saying. Like Fueled by Ramen is not, they're not Sony Records, they're not BMG, but the actual cover art picture is fantastic too. To me, that picture, when I see that picture, I hear either Some Nights or We Are Young in my head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rating this album on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to read you guys exactly what I typed, as I always do. My rating for this record is a 9, followed by the words, screw you, it gets better. Because if it were not for It Gets Better, this record would be like the first 11 that I gave out. Like, that song disrupts everything about this record so much that it deducts a full point. Other than that, the things you mentioned, Kyle, about the creativity, the instrumentation, everything about the record, before you worry about Nate Ruess's voice and the lyric quality, everything, even if he was singing garbage lyrics on this, the melodies and the way it's delivered would still make it a 9 for me. So when you add in the quality of lyrics and the passionate way that he sings, it's easily a 9 for me. Kyle, we'll slide it over to you. What do you got?
I put this at a 6.
Really?
Damn it.
But only so, not at any fault of their own. It's simply because of how the musical beast works. Just having half of these songs beat into my head over and over and over again to a point to where they like kind of drive me nuts sometimes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hear that.
So, but as far as the writing, the way it's presented, everything down to the album artwork and so on and so forth, I love all of that.
Michelle.
It's not a record that I could listen to all of the time without being like, God damn it, I've heard this song 3,000 times.
And I hear that. I will say that I binged this record like a ridiculous amount when it came out. And when I picked it for the album review and started listening to it again for the first time in forever, almost every song I thought, man, I listened to this album a lot before. Like, wow, did I listen to this record a lot? Even though it's probably been 6 years at least since I listened to it straight through, and every single song that started, I was like, God damn it, I listened to this record a lot at one time. Michelle, what is your rating on this album?
I'm giving it an 8, and that's because It Gets Better gets 2 points deducted.
2 full points for It Gets Better. That's fair.
1 because it's garbage, and 2 for ruining an otherwise perfect record.
That's fair.
No,
yeah, I get it.
Before we go, Russ,
go ahead.
I will say that even though this record is 10 years old, this sounds like a record that could have come out last week. There's it doesn't date itself whatsoever.
You saw production wise or songwriting wise or both?
Yeah, all of it. Like it literally, this record could have come out last week, and like everyone would still be able to relate to it, and it would still mean just as much to everybody.
No, I couldn't agree more.
You forgot to ask if we would recommend it.
Okay, my bad. Would you recommend, Michelle, that someone buy this record? Or you know what? Actually, let's put a little spin on that. So let's say somebody is listening to this episode, or they even saw the episode artwork and went, Jesus Christ, I heard, We Are Young a million times. Let's say somebody pulls a Kyle. And they think, oh my God, like what would you tell someone who feels that way? Like they've heard We Are Young a million times, and they really thought, I'm never going to listen to the rest of this record. Would you tell that person to go ahead and give the record a shot anyways?
I would tell them to start with It Gets Better. Go fuck yourself.
And then Kyle, from the person who had that perspective, like now that you, because of the show, you listen to the whole thing again, and some of it you said you hadn't heard before, or you hadn't heard all the way through. Would you tell someone else who feels like you, who's like, yeah, but I've already heard Some Nights a million times, would you tell them to listen to this record?
Yeah, because there's more to Nate Ruess than just what you've heard on the radio.
For sure. For me, yes, I would tell people that, but this is just me, and apparently I'm an emo kid, from what I hear.
I think you might be.
I would tell people yes, but only if you are going through something, anything. If you are in a positive frame of mind of how you're going to make it out of that, then listen to this record. If you are not, I would not listen to some things on here, because there is for as much hopefulness as there is on this record lyrically, there's a lot of hopelessness as well. So it's very up and down. So I would recommend it overall. And for sure, in the frame of that, for anybody who was to say to me, if I put the record on and as soon as Some Nights start, the main version of Some Nights, as soon as that starts, if somebody was to say, oh my God, I've heard this a million times, the next thing out of my mouth would be like, okay, but give the rest of the record a chance. So,
I hear that.
So yes, I
Agreed.
would. So thank you, Michelle, for inviting me to the recommendation portion.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's my fault for missing that. My bad.
I got the brain here.
I'm going to skip right over that. Next week on the program, what we have coming at you is another listener requested topic. And I think this will be a fun one. We're going to talk about artists that we think should be bigger or should have been bigger. And I want to make clear that we're not going to hit you with all these indie things of, oh, here's a guy you never heard of that, really you should be into. It could be even an artist who many people think is big and we think should be bigger. Like, for example, Kyle, I think after your Garth Brooks concert experience, I bet you were probably like, I don't know why, but he should be bigger. Like, even though it's Garth Brooks and he's huge,
Yeah, he is huge in that realm, but like, I feel like a lot of people who don't listen to country music wouldn't even know one Garth Brooks song.
Right.
But as far as absolutely, I agree.
So that's the type of thing we're going to have fun with next week, is artists and the bands and artists that we think from whenever throughout history that we think either should have been bigger or even should be bigger now. So that will be something that we will be doing next week. That will be a lot of fun. After that, we will get around to another album review, which I believe, if I'm not wrong, will then be a crowd pick, and we have plenty from listeners to get to, which is awesome. It's great to have an embarrassment of riches, so thank you very much for that to all of the listeners. Like we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Bye.
The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.